The topic is the decision Brown versus the Board of Education. During this third segment, why don't you, Attorney Blackshear, sort of summarize for us some of the information that we've talked about dealing with Brown versus the Board of Education, and take the last 6 minutes to sort of enlighten us.
You remember when I stated that Brown versus Board of Education was looking for that one intangible factor that could not be resolved unless you just simply abolished the doctrine of separate equal. That one intangible factor that makes white schools superior to black schools. You just couldn't resolve it. And it was brought out very clearly that when the segregation is the government promoting inferiority among blacks, while at the same time it's promoting superiority on the part of whites. The Supreme Court recognized that in Brown versus Board of Education by saying the segregation affects the hearts and minds of young black children in a way unlikely ever to be undone. That's that one intangible factor that cannot be resolved, that points to inequality between the races unless you just simply abolish the doctrine. And that was the reason why the doctrine was abolished. The first thing that one needs to understand, that integration is a tool to make sure that resources are equally distributed. As long as you have one segment of the community that's in a boat on the high seas of life by itself, and will have the tendency to deny that other segment of the community its natural resources. But if our destinies are so irrevocably intertwined, well, we're all on the same boat of the high seas of life, then one segment of the community is going to think twice about pulling a plug because he's going to sink along with everyone else. So integration makes the powers to be honest in the disposition of resources. And that is the beauty of Brown versus Board of Education.
Now, when you talk about Brown versus Board of Education, ordinarily we talk about the system of segregation. And we know that you participated in the civil rights movement in a way that very,
one of the
very
original citizens.
That's what I mean. One of the very, very few people. And so let's talk about how you were trying to undo Plessy and of course enforce Brown by what you did. I mean, talk about that.
We weren't so much trying to enforce Brown as we were trying to usher in the equal opportunity as relates to employment and participation in public accommodation facilities and so forth and so on. I was one of the original senators in 1961 and while I was attending Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. And of course, you will have people today that will swear up and down they were all parts of it. But I will tell you a substantial number of people were on the quiet side of the revolution.
Very well,
and pretty much criticizing us as being hoodlums and criminals, and that we ought to be in school getting an education.
I was on the quiet side. Go on, talk about that.
But they were all on the quiet side. Well, I was on the active side. I spent some time in the county workhouse in Atlanta, Georgia, and fortunately, I went to a very good school, at Morehouse College, that appreciated what the students were doing, so I was not penalized educationally, academically, for doing that. We brought our books with us, and we studied there and things of this type. And we started organizing even the prisoners in jail behind, socializing them behind the various things. And the only thing we wanted, it was just an equal opportunity to participate in the bountiful goodness that this country had to afford to everyone, notwithstanding their race, religion, or sex, origin, creed, or color. And so that was it.
And there was a lot of violence associated with this movement.
There was a lot of violence practiced on us. We were spat upon. We were called everything except the child of God. And we were just, but you know, we had leadership and we had cohesiveness, and we were focused, you see, and that's the whole point about it. And we had feelings of self-esteem, we had feelings of self-worth, and it's those two intangible things that a person possesses that allows him to go forward with the struggle because of the feelings of self-worth and understanding what he is in history and what the future is all about and what you're trying to achieve in the future. So we were able to sustain that.
What would you say to young people today? We find that so many young people are so unfocused, and well, what would you say to get them back in terms of making Brown a reality? Because Brown, the decision was made, but it is not a reality. How could they, as young people, help to make that a reality?
About doing what they're supposed to do. For example, I see a lot of young black people today shucking and jiving. They will make man-tan moreland and step and fetch it, cry with shame. And by